All right, everyone, welcome to Sour Horsepower. And if you see my last video of us drag racing my 2022 Dodge Durango SRT, it didn't end so well, so we had a whole bunch of extra time today to kill. So I figured we might as well go for a ride, talk to you guys about exactly how this thing handles the twisty roads here. So we're out here at our channel favorite testing spot, and we're going to see exactly how the SRT Durango handles around these corners. Now, we got, I think it's just over 5,000 pounds of mass that we need to control going around these corners. I just did a little reconnaissance lap, and so far, quite good. We'll discuss some more in-depth things once we get on the road. But if you're not familiar, it's a 6.4 liter Hemi, 392 cubic inches, 475 horsepower, and then roughly the same torque. The wheel and tire combo and the suspension is all shared with the Hellcat Durango. So we have 295 45 20s on there. The tires that I'm on are on the base all-season tires, not the 3-season performance. So that will hurt us a little bit when it comes to the cornering performance. But that also goes to show that no matter what we feel out here today, this is probably the worst this car would ever feel, because these are the worst tires for it. One thing that's also interesting is that the brakes that I got in are also the standard brakes. I didn't upgrade to the Hellcat Durango 6-piston brakes. Two reasons I did that. One, because it's my daily driver, and I don't want to pay more for brakes every day. And I don't plan on doing stuff like this very often, but if I do, obviously we got to dial it back a little bit, because yes, it's all good to go fast, but we also have to be able to stop. We'll discuss the braking feel and the braking performance while we're out here on the road, but I think that's about it. So let's go ahead. I'm gonna set the cameras up, we'll get out on the road, and I'll tell you exactly how this thing drives. All right, so let's talk about the drive modes here on the SRT Durango. So auto is your default mode. That's the softest everything's going to be. Suspension, steering, transmission, that's basically your daily driver setting. Sport, that turns everything up a little bit. It takes the all-wheel drive system from a 40 front 60 to a 35 front 65 rear, if I'm getting my math correct. So it moves the power 5% more to the rear. And then again, for track, a little bit more stiffer on the transmission shifting, the steering, and the suspension, but then that takes the power and does another 5% to the rear. So in track mode, you get 30% power to the front, 70% to the rear, and that should help us out here with the steer, or the drivability around the corners. So we'll go ahead, get out on the road. We're going to start in sport for this one, and then we'll switch over to track about halfway through, and we'll compare. Auto is not really good out here. It's way too soft. Like I said, it's more of a daily driver setting. So we'll go ahead and put it in sport, and then we'll go ahead and pull out. Let's go. All right, so we're in automatic, not manual mode. I'm going to floor it, and we're going to test the responsiveness of the transmission. So 40 miles an hour, floor it. Pretty quick. Onto the gear pretty good, then it upshifts. Now we'll switch it down to manual. So we're in 6th gear, drop down, pretty responsive. Down to 3rd gear, floor it. Transmission still gives you a good shove in the back, even in sport mode. All right, now we're coming up to the twisties. I'll leave it in manual mode so I have a little bit extra control over the braking characteristics, because with over 5,000 pounds of curb weight, we need to be able to stop, and I don't really want to push through the brakes. So let's go ahead and tuck it in here. It's still a little on the softer side in sport, definitely noticeably better compared to auto mode. Go down to 4th gear. The turn-in's actually really good. There's not a lot of feedback in the steering. Like, it's not real. You're not really feeling the lines of the road and everything. That's just part of having electric steering these days. Got some cars coming and some people. All right, we'll have to look for those on the way back.
wasn't full brakes, but it's still they'll still slow you down. There's not a lot of pedal feel, you really have to get on them a little bit to really bring in the braking performance, but it does sound good. In my initial video, when I took delivery, I was like, the exhaust did sound a little quiet. It's definitely opened up a lot more the more I've driven it. Braking in the exhaust and everything will avoid this branch. You still have to be like mindful though. Like, this is very quick for an SUV. I'm not gonna lie. We're handling pretty well, but like there's always this reservation in your head of, am I pushing too much? Because the last thing you want is to understeer and go off the road and crash. That's the last thing you want. But it's actually taking it fairly well, and that's in sport mode, not even a full track suspension. It does sound good. I'll give it that. The cold start, I think the main thing with the exhaust is the cold start. Cold start's still kind of quiet, but when you really get on it, you can really hear it. And I guess maybe it helps having, you know, the probably 12 feet back there of just echo chamber of Hemi exhaust noise. So it is good. Transmission is really responsive with the paddles. We're going to go ahead and flip around and go back the other way in track. Sport mode's good. It does, it's a nice blend. So sport mode would be great if you have a really bumpy road. Excuse me. If you have a really bumpy road that you want to kind of attack, because track mode might be a little bit too stiff for some of those. So we're going to go in track now. Automatic. You know, while we're here, gee, really wanted to shift hard on that one. Jesus. All right, we're gonna do a launch control. Why not? That 1-2 shift is so violent. I'll shift it over to manual now. Jeez, that 1-2 shift is just like a punch in the back. Doesn't really need to be that that stiff of a shift. People on the road. You can immediately tell steering's a lot heavier, suspension's a lot harder, transmission's a lot harder. Like sport is like, okay, yeah, we'll give you a little bit, and track mode is just like punching you everywhere, no matter what you do. And then with the power split towards the rear, it actually should help us mid corners a little bit more. So we're gonna test it out here in a second. I'm gonna try and give it a down at the bottom of the hill. We're gonna go ahead and give it a lot of gas coming out of the corner and see if it wants to push wide or anything like that. But coming down here, the suspension a lot more jittery, with it getting a lot harder. Man, but still the speed we're taking, it's not bad. And on these tires, I really don't trust these tires. They're all season run flats, so yeah. All right, so we're gonna test this all-wheel drive system here. Third gear, coming down out of here, and mid corner, floor it. No understeer. Get on the brakes. The brakes are still holding up pretty good. No sense of fade yet. I mean, we're not going all out racetrack speed, but down here in this hairpin, motorcycle, or not motorcycle, bicyclist. So the way I would describe this experience is very similar to how my Charger Scat Pack was, just heavy, which is fine, but getting a lot more car for it. All right, we're gonna do a little. Second gear, manual mode, we're at 3,000 RPM. And let off for traffic. It's not slow. And that's the thing, if you've been following the channel for a while, I wanted to have a more daily-able sports car, which is, this fits all of the bills when it comes to that. So I ended up getting rid of my truck. I didn't need the towing anymore, and man, the suspension, it's almost, I literally lost my train of thought from the suspension going over some little washboard surface there. It was, let's put that back down to sport. Track mode suspension is really good for keeping it under control in the corners, but man, as soon as you get out of the corner, you're like, please get me out of this. But that's why it was designed like that, I guess. Flip that over into automatic mode and chill. And then we'll go auto on the drive modes as well, so we can relax a little bit. But yeah, overall, I am super happy with this thing. It's been a blast to drive. Unfortunately, my first outing at the drag strip did not go as planned, but learning experience, right? And it allowed me to get time to film this video today. So if you have any questions on the SRT Durango, go ahead and drop them in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, give me a like. And yeah, final thoughts. It's definitely a lot more capable than I thought it was going to be. I do enjoy how comfortable and how soft it is for daily driving. And then, of course, like we were talking about, how stiff the track mode is. Just pop it in track or sport if you're on if you live on some twisty roads like this, you can have a lot of fun. Didn't really have any understeer coming out of the corners. In track mode with it floored. I think we were in third gear, something like that. Had a lot of steering angle into it too. Didn't spin, didn't push off, just kind of hooked and went. So it's really nice to see. Driving dynamics are really well. You just have to be super cognizant of the weight of it and then the braking. Just if you keep those two things in check, and then maybe put some better tires on it, which I probably will. I think I've been eyeing up the Continentals, but I kind of want to burn these off first. So yeah, again, thanks for watching. Like, comment below, all the usual stuff. Subscribe if you want to see more of my SRT Durango here or my 2015 Dodge Viper. And I will see you guys in the next one. Take care. Have a great day.